A long, long time ago, long before Thomas Edison patented his first commercially successful light bulb that would later be used to brighten up the way of the future, way before that, almost around the time when Rogers, Sylvesters, and Magdalenes still wondered why the sun made the rocks feel hot, the story of how Rudolph, the red-nosed underdog who saved an almost shattered Christmas Eve, was born. Now we all know Santa Claus, also known as der Weihnachtsmann in Germany, lives on a snow-covered forest with his wife Mrs. Claus, Ulfa, in the North Pole. Now you got this fat-bearded, dirty old man spying on little girls and boys all year long, supposedly determining whether they're naughty or nice, based on some undocumented scripture or naughty or nice scale that no one's ever heard of. Now, almost like a Russian pimp scouts for pretty young girls and boys who can potentially grow to become valuable assets in the sex trade industry, der Weihnachtsmann, Santa that is, also goes around from town to town checking out newborn reindeers in an attempt to answer their lifelong dreams by potentially recruiting them on the sleigh team someday. Needless to say, when Rudolph, son of Donna, was born, he wasn't like any of the other reindeers. As soon as Santa Claus saw his shiny red nose, he froze in an awkward pose, then wiggled his toes and said,
"Well, this blows, but we all know how it goes. He ain't never gonna make it to the sleigh team if he doesn't get rid of that awful nose."
So then, in an attempt to confide to the existing shitty social standards that surrounded poor Rudolph, his father Donna comes up with a genius fucking idea to cover his nose with mud. Imagine that. So the next day, little Rudolph is on his way to the reindeer games to practice his flying, when he sees the girl of his wet dreams, Clarice.
"Hello, Clarice. I may not be Hannibal Lecter,"
said Rudolph,
"but I'll eat that fine ass of yours any day with some fava beans and a nice Chianti."
Oh, Rudolph, stop, you're so cute.
That made Rudolph so happy that he flew high in the sky on his very first try. Santa and the flying coach Comet were amazed. They said simultaneously,
Man, that boy's good.
but it didn't take too long before the mud wore off and everybody saw him for who he really was, a freak little reindeer with a shiny red nose that glows. And the world as he knew it crumbled to little bits and pieces. And in less than no time, King and Castle became rat in a hole. They were stealing his veggies, giving him wedgies, and calling him horrible names like Reggie. Hell, the most popular joke on the sleigh team was, why did Rudolph cross the road? 'Cause he was tied to a chicken. So at that point, little Rudolph couldn't take it anymore. So he stole some money from here and there, bought himself a nice bottle of Jack and half an ounce of his favorite organic fair trade dried out leafy greens, and hit the road to nowhere. At some point, according to the story, apparently he settled down in a place called the Island of Misfit Toys. The guy was a fucking mess, man. He changed his name to Cassius, drizzled himself with skull tattoos and piercings, started some kind of a power trash punk band called the Unwanted Stepchild, and spent all his time getting drunk, snorting crystal, shooting horse, and fucking everything that moved. All he wanted to do now was join the Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and Jim Morrison 27 Club, with nothing left to look forward to except to live fast and die young. Well, that went on for quite some time, until one night, on a foggy Christmas Eve, he was passed out on a bar stool, almost half-past dead, foaming from the mouth, in one of the local downtown brothels, loaded on God knows what, when he received a rather unexpected call.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
Hello, Rudolph. How you doing, man?
Who the fuck is this?
Hey, Rudolph, it's Santa. Remember me? How you been? How's it going?
It's Cassius now. What do you want, Santa?
You see, I heard it from a friend that you were summoned down to the Old Red Rooster Bar to play a hand jive blues gig way down in Misfit Lanes. Then you were spotted downtown going around the corner with finger-licking fried chicken in one hand and two fancy broads in the other trying to score crack cocaine and liquor. Anyway, the point is, you see those fucking elves of mine, they spent so much time smoking cigarettes and damn dope, they fogged up the whole North Pole. You see, I was thinking, does that nose of yours still glow?
Yes, it does. I've had enough of this shit.
No, please, don't hang up. Rudolph, you see, Christmas Eve is back, and, I really gotta do my thing, you know. You think you can help a brother out?
Oh, sure. But I'm gonna need a few blows of that Christmas snow, 'cause I'm feeling kinda low.
And Santa cried with glee.
Ho, ho, ho. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Well, alrighty then. Let's get this show on the road.
And just like that, Cassius, with his nose so bright, guided Santa's sleigh that night. Saved the day, he went down in history. Became a Christmas hero like Macaulay Culkin and John McClane, and was loved and worshipped by everyone. Unfortunately, it was already too late for poor Rudolph. All that shit didn't matter anymore. The misery that had been bottling up for all those years from all that underappreciation and rejection had carved a hole so deep in his cold, cold heart that could never be mended. He had also contracted irreversible sexually transmitted diseases because of his careless drunken sex escapades. Chlamydia, genital herpes, the clap, and the list goes on and on. He was now also a full-time junkie, drowning himself with anything he can get his hands on. Coke, smack, crack, crystal, horse, glue, fucking paint thinner, uppers, downers, anything, you name it. He was like a 24-hour Ferris wheel that spun in all dimensions, and was always getting pinched by the cops because of his shiny red nose. Exactly a year later, poor little Rudolph locked himself in his childhood room, picked out his favorite record, 1971, Don McLean's American Pie, and played his all-time favorite track, Vincent. He took his last bump of pure Peruvian flake, swallowed the barrel of his father's gun, and sprayed his brains out to Kingdom Come.
And so it goes, pretty girls and fat bros. Everybody knows the crooked path they chose. The moral of the story is pretty clear. We all shed a lonesome reindeer tear. But the time has come to live and learn, 'cause to lose it all takes one wrong turn. How long are we gonna be afraid of what we don't understand? How long till we walk the earth hand in hand? I mean, what's the moral of the story here? What have we learned? I'm sorry, Boom Boom, for calling you fat. I didn't mean it. You know I love you. So, Mr. Preacher Man, now you heard the story. What do you think?
You want to know what I think? I'll tell you what I think, but you got to be ready for it, motherfucker.
Oh, we're ready for you, Preacher Man. Go ahead. You're live on the air.
All right. You asked for it. How long are we going to keep picking on people who are different than us? People who don't fit the profile of little boxes made of ticky-tacky, little boxes all the same. When are we going to finally realize that this madness has been going on for far too long in this dark, cruel world that we're living in? How many conflicts, wars, and fights about race, religion, color of the skin, sexual orientation, gender, difference of opinion, and every other man-made excuse to bang our own heads against the fucking wall till the fucking blood comes out is it gonna take till we realize that it was all good for nothing? Until we realize that we don't all need to be the same and that difference is actually a good thing. How many countless times are special kids gonna suffer in school for being bullied just because they're a bit different? Knowing very well that these are the same little motherfuckers that will most probably change the world someday and make it a better place. How much is it gonna take until everybody realizes that we're better together than apart? Power to the people, motherfuckers! Power to the people! In Rudolph's story, everybody let him down. His parents were ashamed, his friends mocked him, his lover let him loose, his teachers refused to train him, and even the almighty, all-wise, all-loving, belly-full of jelly Santa Claus disowned the little motherfucker. And even if it finally proved all those lesser mortals wrong, in the end, it didn't matter. It was too fucking late, man. It was too late. Those who didn't walk the carefully dotted line designed and drawn by cowards and controlling wankers, those who strayed from it and decided to do their own thing, were almost always persecuted for doing so. But those are the very same people who are the pioneers and the very few courageous heroes who helped make the world a better place. Spartacus, Einstein, Mozart, and fucking John Lennon. Galileo, the father of modern science, was the first to discover that the earth revolves around the sun. And just because the powers that be didn't want that information to be known to the public at the time, he was sentenced to house arrest for the remainder of his life. My favorite example is Alan Turing. Man, this guy was the father of computer science. He created a computer. He helped the English defeat the Germans. He shortened the length of World War II by 2 years and saved over 14 million lives. I mean, this guy was a fucking genius. In his spare time, he basically revolutionized theoretical biology. And how did his country repay him? They fucking castrated him for being a homosexual. He committed suicide by reenacting his favorite scene of Snow White by taking a bite of a cyanide-infused apple. There were other lonely singers in a world turned deaf and blind who were crucified for what they tried to show. And their voices have been scattered by the swirling winds of time, because the truth remains that no one wants to know. I quote Chris Christopherson, my favorite song of all time, How to Beat the Devil. Wake the fuck up, ladies and gentlemen, pretty girls and fat boys. Wake the fuck up and smell the coffee. Be a man, be a big girl and own it. Help each other out. Help each other out because we only have each other in this never-ending whirlpool of confusion called life. There is only one thing I know for sure. One thing I know exists, and that's love, man. Maybe I do sound a bit cliche, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm all you got, and you're all I got. We need each other, man. Own it, bitches. Own it. Blacks, whites, reds, yellows, greens, drag queens, homos, hobos, rich men's, no-shows, men, women, boys and girls, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, old people, saggy people, atheists, cripples, animals, four eyes and Popeyes, politicians, working class heroes, geeks, freaks, bipolars and polar bears, sinners and saints, lovers and liars. Give them a chance, man. Give them a chance. I was born a lonely singer, and I'm bound to die the same. But I gotta feed the hunger in my soul. And if I never make a nickel, I won't ever die ashamed, because I don't believe that no one wants to know. That's how you beat the devil. Thank you, Chris Christopherson. Thank you, everybody. And Merry Christmas.
Ooh, man, that was intense. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dan the Preacher Man on this fine Christmas morning. Thank you, Mr. Preacher Man. Thank you, pretty girls and fat boys, for tuning in. Stay tuned for some more skits and sketches and some of my favorite Christmas tracks.